Anggaplah dirimu sebagai orang yang keluar dari masyarakat. Tidak harus, tidak, karena kita sedang membangun masyarakat kita sendiri jika kau memberi kami kesempatan. Mereka mungkin, oh, aku seharusnya tidak mengatakan itu. Tidak, aku suka orang yang keluar dari masyarakat itu, kawan. Aku masih hidup dan bernapas seperti dirimu. Kita hanya terlihat sedikit berbeda, itu saja. Kita hanya memiliki cara yang berbeda untuk mengekspresikan diri, yang seharusnya menjadi sudut pandang yang bebas.
Yesterday was more proof, as if any were needed, that the old relationship with the United States is over. As I've been saying, this is a tragedy, but it's also our new reality.
We can't wait for change. We are going to pass Affordability for a Change Act, Safety for a Change Act, Bring Home Our Jobs for a Change Act. I'm here to say, hope is on the way, change is on the way.
Join me, Aaron Cates, and Real Deal Media for Canada's historic Election Day 2025. This is the most important election of my lifetime, and as Canadians decide, are we a sovereign country or slaves to the globalists? This is for the soul of the nation and the future of North America.
For the soul of the nations, spoken like a true statesman, Aaron Cates there. Perhaps, dare I say, future Prime Minister. Time will tell. Welcome, everybody. Welcome wherever you reside here tonight. This is Real Deal Media's live coverage of the Canadian election, their national election, as this is a huge day, as Aaron stated so eloquently. A huge day for Canada and a big day for North America. And I am Dean Ryan, who's going to be joining you. Yes, that's indeed true, throughout the election here tonight, as we give you the coverage as a complete blackout of this election in Canada throughout the United States right now. You'd be hard-pressed to find anything on the front page, the second, third, or fourth page about what's happening here today in one of the most historic elections in Canada's history. Oh, yes, it is. So thank you for joining us. And we are broadcasting all over the place as far as we can right now at a special time here, 9 o'clock Eastern, as we are on Facebook at The Real Dean Ryan, as well as Dean Ryan TV over there on YouTube, and Rumble, which is Canadian-owned. And joining me here tonight is going to be Aaron Cates, who's he's on deck right now, but we also have a whole lineup and a variety of different guests here who are going to give you the analysis you need to know about, as the results here are going to dictate the relationship between the United States and Canada and the direction of how this continent of North America is going to go. Are we going to be basking in the sun as allies, or are we going to be mere rivals as it's being presented in the media? So, riding shotgun here with me tonight is Toronto's favorite son, Mr. Inspector Aaron Cates. Aaron, welcome. What a big
Good
day
evening.
for you.
Wow.
Yes.
It's incredible. I'm wearing blue, man. I'm excited. Good evening, ladies and gents. This is a historic day. It's it's our election, 2025. We've been waiting 9 years under the Trudeau whore of Havana government. It's been waiting and waiting just for this day. So we're praying to God that, it's a blue wave. Pierre Poilievre takes the lead and, takes control and is our next prime minister potentially. So we got a great show, Dean. We got a few other guests who are going to join us. And you want me to introduce?
Yes, we do. Yeah,
okay,
so
awesome.
we have a bunch of guests coming up. We have a few stories we're going to get to.
Welcome to the show.
We have people on the ground. We have some familiar faces joining us.
Yeah.
But let's catch people up here because there's a lot of things happening, and you're not going to find, like I said, Aaron, and I'm shocked and stunned and perplexed all at the same time that there's zilch in the American media about what's happening up north right now. That it's shocking to me.
Yeah, it is shocking, actually. I mean, guys, I mean, the northern border is, a lot of fentanyl, the drugs, trafficking, so many things, the guns, illegal guns coming across, so many things. You guys got to pay attention to the north. The southern border seems like it's under control, but the northern border is where you guys got to be looking. And right now, we have a huge election. And it's either tomorrow I'll be eating extra spring rolls, or hopefully I'll be eating a nice American burger the next, if Pierre Poilievre
Yeah.
gets in. So it's interesting times. Definitely interesting time, guys. Very
Yeah,
historic today.
that's true. You might be having some wonton soup tomorrow, or depending on who wins. But Aaron, stand by there. Let's tell
Awesome.
our viewers about the most updated news from our perspective of what's happening in Canada. Stand by there. Okay, so here's what's going on here is we have some incredible guests on deck, and you don't want to miss this here tonight. Let's get to it. Here's some headlines happening right now in Canada. Yes, well, they're now saying that Trump is the X factor. That's right. He is a polarizing figure right now in these historic elections just north of us. Let me tell you a bit more about it now, as voters are now heading into the polls over there in Canada, where a defiant patriotism has taken hold. They're saying now, thanks to Donald Trump. Now, you think the Chinese would make them feel a bit patriotic? Oh, no, that's so 2000 late at this point. Well, now Canadian flags are just lining up in residential streets. Many experts who are familiar with the matter are saying that's absolutely correct. There's a term they're now using, elbows up. Apparently that's connected to Gordie Howe. And it is the hockey playoffs, and they timed it that way for a reason. But yes, Trump is the X factor, many have said. The Canadian political strategists all alike are saying, well, Trump has served as a communication ex post factoid to really push the issue for whether it's Mark Carney or Pierre Poilievre. Trump's threats to annex Canada and snubs of former Prime Minister, that's right, the whore of Havana himself, Justin Trudeau, coupled with punishing tariffs, has levied on the country as we speak. Well, the ruling Liberal Party and their spiraling approval ratings could propel Mark Carney, the Liberal candidate and sitting Prime Minister currently, to victory over Pierre Poilievre over this main X factor point. Well, Carney, if you don't know, a banker from the City of London with little experience in electoral politics, well, has touted his roles leading back into the Bank of Canada itself through 2008 financial crises and the Bank of England through Brexit as proof that he is the man to handle the crises. Now, Poilievre, they're saying a career politician, has carved out a combative conservative brand that has sparked comparisons to Trump himself, believe it or not. Well, he's been endorsed, or was endorsed, by Elon Musk at one point and ran on a Canadian First platform. Now, Trump has lobbied insults at Canada at a rapid clip in recent months, saying repeatedly that Canada should become the 51st state, deriding Trudeau as Governor Justin Trudeau as the great state of Canada, if you recall. Now, Liberals made a startling 20-plus point comeback after that in the polls, overtaking the Conservatives as Election Day has now neared. So now it's worth noting Trump now has doubled down his claims of making Canada, or wanting Canada rather, join the United States as the 51st. But pollsters say Canadians' anger at Trump plays right into Carney's hands. Oh, yes, they are. That's what they're saying. Now, also, in addition to this, what is Pierre Poilievre saying because of this? You would think that this just plays into the hands of Mark Carnage. Well, guess again. Well, now Canada's conservative leader tells Trump to, quote, stay out of the election. Yes, he's beating his chest as well now. Pierre Poilievre, the leader of Canada's Conservative Party, told President Trump to stay out of the election in a defiant statement he's made. Now, Trump's stay out of our election mantra is picking up steam now, and as it comes in the wake of many have said this is Pierre's election to win. Aaron, I'm going to bring you on because there's a lot happening here. Let's talk about this, and then let's start bringing some people in. But do you think Trump's whole 51st state phrase. Do you think that's really played into the hands of Mark Carney, or is that
Yeah, I
playing
think
into
it
the
does. I
hands?
think it really scared people. I think let's go
Tell me
back
about it.
January 7th, the Liberals were polling at 19%. Trudeau had resigned, and they were just horrible. Everybody could see it. He was involved in a green slush fund of $2 billion that were missing, and there's so many scandals, and people were just had enough. So then they brought in they stopped Parliament. Our Parliament, we've had no ability to discuss any issues. And then for 3 months, or sorry, for I think a couple months, they had the Liberal candidate put in Mark Carney from 150,000 voters. And then instead of coming back to Parliament and talking and discussing all the issues, the Parliament shut down, and Carney is installed as the Prime Minister. Calls it an election, so nobody gets to really challenge him. The polling in Canada is completely for the Liberals. The mainstream media is for the Liberals. He's got everything everything is rigged in his way. The Patriots, the Conservatives are so like hard. It's kind of like how I guess Republicans were fighting. Everything was just stacked against them. The cards are completely stacked with the whole system, the way things are going. And there's shenanigans going on, Dean. And we'll get to that very soon. Yeah, go ahead.
Aaron, I have to say this too because I don't normally speak Canadian, but according to my Google Translator, elbows up means play dirty. Does it not?
Yeah, like an elbow. Like let's say you're playing hockey and you see the guy has the puck in the side, so you give him a little elbow to let him know you're there, and you try to get the puck away from him. You know,
why didn't I know
Oilers,
that?
And go Oilers.
Let's bring some people in because you mentioned playing dirty.
Yeah.
Now,
no, I don't play dirty, Dean.
Well, you mentioned there's a lot of dirty tricks happening.
Don't
we know it?
There's shenanigans
as Americans,
going on, yes.
We've seen all kinds of stuff. And let me just say, just last night, you want to talk about playing dirty? There is a maniac who ran into a crowd of people last night. We have a
11
station over there
Vancouver,
where Leo is, Mouth of the South, a regular here. We're going to bring him on. He's seen some shenanigans. And a whole host of things. And Aaron, get this. I'm even hearing words that tornadoes are headed to Canada. But here's what happened just roughly 24 hours ago in Vancouver. This is wild.
We are learning more about last night's deadly car attack in Vancouver, Canada. Officials say that death toll is now 11. Local officials say a car drove through an enclosed area just as a Filipino Heritage Festival was coming to an end. And besides those fatalities, dozens of other people were also hurt, taken to local hospitals. The driver of the car was taken into custody. Police say that driver is known to them, has a history of mental illness. They are not publicly identifying him right now because he's not yet been formally charged. But police are calling this an attack as an act of terrorism.
This is the darkest day in our city's history. Last night, as thousands of members of Vancouver's Filipino community gathered for an important cultural celebration, the actions of a single person shattered our collective sense of safety.
Officials have warned that the death toll could rise in the coming days.
Dean, you know what's bad about that? We want to talk about Liberals right now and the whole election. In 6 months to 6 to 8 months, this guy's going to be out on bail, most likely back out on the streets. What do you guys think about that? This guy just ran through 11 people, died in Vancouver in a beautiful Filipino community service on the streets. I think their second one. It's a big one in Vancouver. And he's going to be probably out on bail in the 6 months to 8 months. I think, we got to bring on the other guests because they have a lot to say.
Okay, so I want to bring on. We have Bryce Wade, who's in Vancouver, who probably knows a bit more about what took place here, and then I want to bring on. We have Derek Noonan. Who is actually at. He's monitoring a few watch parties, and he's got a whole host of things to offer here tonight. But let's bring in a friend of the show, very familiar face. You might remember him from the incredible, powerful movie that got Trudeau to just quit on the job. The one and only Bryce Wade of Vancouver over there in BC. Bryce, welcome back to Real Deal Media.
Bryce.
And you look sharp too, and you're wearing blue.
Obviously, it's this election basically came down to communism or conservative, so pretty easy decision in my eyes.
Bryce, I want to ask you right off the bat. You just saw the report there. First of all, I didn't even know Filipinos even made it to Canada. That is not their kind of climate. This is all news to us. But just how suspicious is this rando car plowing into a festival? How suspicious is that? And did the driver look like Mark Carney? That's my second. Go ahead, Bryce. Please tell us.
Yeah, so there's actually a couple of videos of the guy that supposedly that they captured, and so no, it didn't look like Mark Carney, although he did look like a kind of a lunatic. And I've heard reports that he might be connected to ISIS or something. There is a Muslim population in the Philippines. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just some of the reports that I've seen. But I think the more important thing to understand here is this was unheard of years ago. Like, and I was saying this to somebody else. Like, we used to deal with gangland violence in Vancouver, and that was kind of the majority of the violence that happened in Vancouver for a long time. It was like gangs fighting over gang stuff. That was gang problems, but it really didn't usually get into the general sphere. Like, there was gang wars that definitely spilled over into general society, but it was still gang on gang stuff. Now you're seeing a totally otherworldly level of violence, right? I have friends that work in downtown Vancouver, and the police don't travel alone at all. They travel in groups. I have a friend that's a bouncer. Like, everybody is armed downtown now. Like, everybody has a blade. So like it's not safe anymore. And like when I was when I was 20 to 25, so we're talking like 10, 15 years ago, right? I used to go downtown without a care in the world and know that, hey, there was going to be some fights, but that would be between a bunch of dudes being gang losers and whatever. And when it got out of control, they came in heavy-handed with the cops. They shut everything down and cleaned everything up. There was bar watches, and it was one of the most safest places to go at night. Like, you could go and not worry about anything, right, at all. And now it's completely flipped. So in the last 10 years, I can't stress this enough. Okay. What they have done is they have taken the, how do I put this? They have decriminalized crime and criminalized free speech and being a citizen. It's basically what has happened. This is what communism, a communist coup looks like in a country. This is what's happening in Britain. This is what's happening in Canada right now for the last 10 years. And the end point of this is a total collapse of the rule of law, the trust in your society, the ability to function properly, the destruction of the economy, and ultimately what will be sold off to the international conglomerates like BlackRock. That is where this is going.
Well, Bryce, I want to bring you back for a kind of a roundtable feature here as we bring more in. But before we put you back in the bullpen, when you talk about the Trump is the X factor, because that's all that's being presented in the American media right now is Trump is the X factor. Nothing else you're hearing. You want to comment on that because they're saying it plays into Mark Carney's hands, or is it? What's your take on that, real quick, Bryce Wade?
I think there's two important things to understand when it comes to Trump. Now, I was never a big Trump fan originally, but I look at policy, and like Trump's policies over his tenure, both first term and second term, are second to none. Like, nobody even comes close. There's definitely some that I disagree with, but let's just say for a second that the policies that he's putting in are generally good for America. Okay, now. The Liberals were basically going to get obliterated if Jagmeet Singh hadn't pushed off the election until now, basically. Like, so it's basically Jagmeet Singh's fault that we didn't have an election in the fall, and we would have had a majority government with the Conservatives, not even a question. And unfortunately, Trump did what Trump does best, is say ridiculous nonsense to try to get a rise out of people and then go in with his actual plan afterwards. And he has absolutely torpedoed maybe not torpedoed completely, but definitely hurt the conservative position, because the conservative position before that happened was basically, let's mend fences with everybody, kick out the idiots that are destroying the country, and try to fix all the damage that these idiots have done. Now, this is a really important part, up until this point, up until Trump happened, the Liberals didn't care about nationalism at all. They were the people that came in with a boot and a fucking sword, sorry to swear, but to destroy the people that were waving Canada flags. There's people that are protesting all across the country, waving foreign flags. They don't lift a finger for those people. But the people
Right.
that have Canadian flags, no, we got to send in the Gestapo, right? And I'll make a final point. So the important thing to understand, right, is that people are so delusional, so out of touch, and do not follow politics to such a degree that they actually believe that Trump is at fault for anything. There is nothing that Trump has done.
Not the past 9 years. Just Trump in the last 3 months.
Exactly. He has done literally nothing to put Canada in the situation that it is. And you can put all of the destruction that's happened in Canada for the last 10 years squarely at the feet of the Liberals and the NDP. And even though that is true, there's so many people that hate Trump so much that they will literally burn down the country to spite him. It's insane.
Bryce, that is crazy. Agreed. Like just like you said in the film, we haven't seen this kind of patriotism until that beer commercial of what was it, Molson?
Yeah, Molson. Ridiculous.
I can go for one right now. You know?
Well, and when you ask liberals, like, hey, how do you identify yourself as a Canadian? Look, well, I'm not American. Like, what? Like, that's not how you identify yourself, bro.
Well, Bryce, hold that passion as we're going to call back on you there. That is something else here. Aaron, he makes some good points. There's a lot of pissed off, there's a lot of pissed off socialists right now who don't even know they're socialists. Okay, we have this is something interesting here. You want to talk about, let's get into poll stations now. We have Derek Noonan, who's at a watch party, who knows some real shenanigans. But I want to bring on Leo to talk about this because, Aaron, Leo's in the most southern part of Canada. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What is that
Leo's in Windsor, Ontario. Windsor is right across from Detroit, from the Gordie Howe Bridge there, the Ambassador Bridge. And basically it's a big spot for cars. They make a lot of auto cars in Windsor and all kinds of different materials for trade coming to come into the US. And so it's a big spot that people are going to lose their jobs from this tariffs. Yeah,
that's right. He's gonna expand on that, but he sent me this. This is literally probably across the street from him. I want to show the people of it appears to be a polling station. If you look right here, which you can't see right now, but here it is. It seems to be on fire right there.
Yeah, that's insane.
A fire that's frozen. That's how much it's burning. It's not even moving.
And apparently, Dean, this is a very liberal stronghold, and apparently they're probably about to flip a seat to go blue, which is conservative. So there's a fire at the polling. Maybe they want to stop a poll so that it doesn't flip seats. These people are crazy. They're like Democrats, man. They'll do anything to retain power.
Let's bring on Leo to give us the latest on this because he is literally on the scene right there. He's going to be affected. He's probably going to lose. He could lose his job. God willing, he doesn't. If Mark Carnage gets in there, Leo, thanks for joining us here on the Canada's biggest day.
Thanks, Dean. Bryce,
tell us about it.
Bryce is right on. I love Bryce in the panel we have tonight. But this right here, I was probably one of the first guys to break this story before mainstream media or anybody this morning. Right? This is the WFCU Center where the Windsor Spitfires, which is a hockey team, the OHL. Okay, this is where they play, and they set it up to do the polls here. Okay, this is a liberal stronghold for Eric Kreismierik. I call him Eric Papsmierik. Okay, he's a liberal. He's done no good for this area at all, right? He brags that he brought in $10 billion for the electric EV company that's building these batteries, right? And he thinks it's money out of his own pocket, but in reality, that's taxpayers' money. And I confronted him on it a couple times, right? And he really don't have anything to say. He's spineless. But to have that happen on election day, come on, guys. And then they're already saying that it's due to the solar panels. How is that? How do they even know that when the place is still on fire and they're still putting it out right now? Is the investigator in the flames determining what the cause of the fire was? Okay.
Good point, Leo. I mean, I even heard the driver over there in Vancouver, they found his passport in the fire, too. I mean, where have we seen this before?
Funny. Well, actually, Vancouver.
Hold on. Vancouver.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hold that thought. Go ahead, Aaron. Tell us, Aaron.
Oh, I was just gonna say quickly, Leo, that the Vancouver police main chief, who's in charge, as soon as the Vancouver, people got killed on the street, right away within an hour, they said, "Oh, this is not a terrorist attack. This is don't worry, guys, we got it. It's nothing to do with terrorism. We got it." 2 days later, he's coming back and saying, "Yes, this was a terrorist attack." See how these people are? They jump to conclusions right away. They don't even look into it. Leo, go ahead. It's your floor is yours.
Well, the Liberals will take no responsibility for what happened in Vancouver, even though it's their fault because it's liberal ideology. This guy had 50 psych evaluations in the last 2 years. Okay, this guy should not have been on the street, and that's liberal ideology to put this guy on the street. It reminds me of the guy that was on the Greyhound bus a few years ago that bucked the head off that passenger, a 17-year-old kid.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay. That guy is on the street now. He's been paroled. He's back in society. So what's going to happen to this guy is exactly what you said, Aaron. He'll be on the streets, maybe on bail, but he's going to go to a psych ward. Okay, he's going to be deemed a psychopath or whatever. They're going to put him on the MK Ultra drugs. He's going to be released on parole. Okay, because that's the liberal. That's the liberal way, right? And we've seen it time and time again. And
Yeah.
Bryce hit the nail on the head. Now, there's more to this story than meets the eye. Now, I could tell people from their facial features when it comes to Asians, okay? I could tell Vietnamese from the south, from the north. I could tell if you're from Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, the Philippines. Now, that driver, and right away, I was the first guy to say this, he looks Chinese. And what do you know? His last name's Mao? That's not a Filipino name. So what's going on? And Bryce hit the nail on the head. Okay, there's a lot of gang activity in Vancouver, and I was in the middle of it all back in the '90s. The Bindi Joe Hall, I seen it all. The Bacon Brothers, Clay Roosh, and the United Nations, and the Red Scorpions, the Bacon Brothers. Okay, in 2008, where there was 30 homicides in this town. Okay, that don't have any homicides, called Abbotsford. Okay, there was 30 homicides in a month. Okay, there's a gang war going on. So this might be connected to that because the Chinese have a problem with the Filipinos.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah, there's more to, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask this question here is right off the bat, you have like CBS right now ruling out terrorism. There's a lot of double speak.
Yeah.
It's to confuse people. We have a lot of incredible audience in Canada right now. Let me address this too. We have Deborah Miller. Thank you for being here tonight.
Awesome.
Canada's
Welcome to
fallen
the show, guys.
country. The government can run people over, peaceful protesters with horses, but the violent Muslim protesters can burn our flag in national TV. Let me address this too because we have incredible American Muslims, incredible Canadian Muslims, but the radical Muslims that you hear about is controlled by the actual government. And
Yeah.
you never hear about the moderate Muslims. Why? Just like you don't hear about Nation of Islam guys either, because they can't be controlled. It's the extreme that are coming from the establishment. And Operation Gladio isn't just some myth. This is what they do for chaotic scenes to confuse the people. But it seems to me, Leo, that Vancouver has gone the way of Austin, Texas. Violent crime, just like London, just like a lot of big cities in the Commonwealth, Leo. And so just how important, I want to ask you, and I'm going to bring you back with our roundtable.
Yeah, I want to bring Derek on very soon.
Yeah, we're going to bring Derek on, but I want you to explain to the audience, Leo, what it means, what's going to happen to you and your industry if Mark Carnage, the WEF puppet from City of London, remains in power. Tell us what that means to you and your family.
I've been stating this to everybody that watches me on Facebook and everywhere else, okay, and in comments on your show, that this election, your job's on the line. Over 65% of my shop right now is on layoff, and these are guys that are making $100,000 plus a year. Okay, I'm going to be one of the last guys to leave, and if Mark Carney gets in, my days may be numbered in this plant that I'm working at, right? That's what's going to happen, okay? Because I work for, like everybody else in Windsor, Ontario. These businesses, 90% of them are owned by big U.S. Conglomerates, okay, that are on the stock market, Fortune 500 companies that are not going to pay the 25% tariffs. And they're just going to move their operations back to America, okay? And I'm going to be affected by this. I'm going to probably end up on welfare. I highly doubt that. One thing I do know is for sure is if Mark Carney gets in, I may be the general of the Southwestern Ontario freedom fighters in a very short time, right? Because That's where it's coming to in Canada. There's going to be a civil war over here, buddy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is something, Aaron. We might be talking in the future Canadian Taliban right there.
Oh yeah, we need Derek to come on and answer
Okay,
this
so
one.
hey,
Bring him on.
Leo, stand by. We're going to bring you back here shortly. Stand by there.
Thanks,
Aaron,
Leo.
my head is turning like Linda Blair on a just incredible wicked night here as we are just
I'm just glad to see you wearing
grasping
blue,
straws.
Dean. You're wearing blue, so that's awesome.
Hey,
You're part of the
everybody,
team.
we didn't plan this. But me and Aaron were like twins when it comes to fashion. Who would have thought?
If you said
Okay,
I would think you're Canadian.
Okay, let's bring in. Why don't you introduce our next guest, Aaron? Because
yeah.
I think it's important when he's going to be offering here. Tell us.
Okay,
who's
awesome.
Coming to the
I
plate
met
here.
Derek Noonan. He's a military vet. He's been so vocal the last how many years in Canada. He's a Canadian patriot. He's in Peterborough now at a watch party, and I met him at a Chris Sky event actually for Mayor of Toronto. And ever since we've been, trading intel and stuff. And he's awesome, great guy, and he's been a thorn in Trudeau and Mark Carney's side with the microphone. So, ladies and gents, introducing my buddy Derek Noonan. Derek, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Freedom.
Welcome, Derek. You
Freedom,
heard
man.
our two guests here. Everybody is at the edge of their seat except for the American media, who seems to be in the back seat, just taking bong tokes as everybody's panicking right now in Canada. But before we get into the minutiae of it all, Derek, can you just explain the maybe climate of the fellow Canadians? Are they feeling the pressure, or are they more concerned about the hockey playoffs at this very time?
Oh, well,
Explain the tension, if you could.
within the freedom movement and within people that are political, there's a tremendous tension. Now Canada is an extremely apathetic country, unfortunately. So there's 30% of the population that they don't vote, they don't care what's happening. They're enthralled with with the hockey playoffs. So what's happening around them, they're completely oblivious to it. It's extremely frustrating, and that also adds tension to the people that know and see what's happening and see that we're at basically a political precipice. I mean, we're right on the cliff. And to see those two, how do you put it? Those two dichotomies, it's extremely frustrating.
Wow. Yes, it is. Let's bring you back here, Aaron. It is frustrating, and I was telling Derek before the show in the green room just how planned it was to have this election right in the playoffs for hockey. And Aaron, I think it's time for Canadians to ditch hockey and leave it for children to play, just like many Americans did with the NFL. It's time. It's time. Hell with hockey. Who gives a damn about it when you're not going to have a future? But Aaron, tell us when you expand on that with our guest here, Derek, as I surf the live chat.
I was talking with Derek. I mentioned him earlier, before the show. I said, Derek, what's our plan B? And Derek's going to have a great answer. What's our plan B for Canadian Patriots? Because we always have to be prepared. I've noticed there's many shenanigans going on. Also, Dean, we're hearing, people taking ballot boxes home to their houses in Hamilton, Ontario. 5 people took ballot boxes home. They're telling us to use pencils when we all know that you should use a pen or a Sharpie. You take the ballot box home and you got people using pencils on their mark. They're going to erase it. There's going to be shenanigans. Just as an example, mainstream media is completely against the Conservatives and Canadians. The polling is completely against the Conservatives and Canadians. Again, everything's stacked up against us. 91 candidates in Pierre Poilievre's riding when it should only be like 5 or 6 or 7. It's hard for people, maybe older people, to find the name. It's so many things going on. I thought the USA was bad. Derek, take it away, man. What's our plan B? We talked before the show.
Okay,
that's a good question. Tell us.
Basically, plan B. So I'll kind of start. So after the actual convoy in Ottawa. So unfortunately, those that have planned it, they're in legal troubles and things like that. So after the convoy, things, I don't want to call it splintered, but it's a large country, geographically very different. So, voices came out of it. There was people that focused more on the charter. There was some that focused on basically local politics, the LGBTQ agenda in schools. So there's groups within groups. But really what it comes down to is we will unite again. really plan B is if Carney wins, Alberta separates. When Alberta separates, that means confederation in a sense is in jeopardy, and it may not exist. From there, we basically have to make our move. Now, I know us freedom fighters will support the Alberta separation. I want to keep them from. I want to keep some of our freedom fighters from Ontario to move to Alberta and stay and continue the fight here. I think it was Leo that said before. You know, we are in a civil war now. You know, there's many dichotomies to war, but we are in a civil war now.
Agreed. Yeah.
Now, how great does it get with? How far does it grow with Carney? It could basically dissolve. I also think Quebec too. Um,
Saskatchewan.
Yeah, Saskatchewan may join Alberta.
Look at that.
Their plan is to collapse everything, and in a sense, you know, it's up to us when they collapse it what we want to do with it, as well. So we have to be prepared for that.
Yeah, and what you're looking at too, Aaron, to piggyback on what Aaron was saying about the mishandling of ballot boxes. This is literally deja vu. You already have Yahoo, who's owned by China, already refuting it, saying elections Canada refutes inaccurate video claim to show ballots mishandled. Video circulating. I mean, there always just seem to be.
You can see the guy with some boxes. Why does he have those boxes? That's period. I don't care if there's ballots in it or not. You shouldn't have those boxes removed from the polling station. Period.
No,
Done.
I know the guy that did that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
He looked me straight in the face and explained what happened, and I have to believe him on that. He's a great guy. His name's Spencer. On various platforms, he goes MCGA with a beaver.
Promotions.
Yeah. Sure. So you know, Spencer kind of goes in disguises. That's how he was famous to get into Carney events to heckle from inside. But he does things like this. And basically what that story originated is we had advanced polling, and the advanced polling, was over the Easter holiday. Started on Good Friday, Saturday, even during Passover, and then obviously Easter. So it was on that Sunday that Spencer, when he actually voted that day, from what I believe, and he kind of talked to them, and then he hung around, and he just wanted to see what happens. And here comes these poll guys carrying out the boxes of actual ballots. He followed him to his residence, so he took him Sunday, took him home. Okay, Spencer then followed up with him on the Monday, and said, "Hey, dude, you've had these ballots in your house over the weekend."
Interesting. Mystery.
And the guy was very defensive. He couldn't answer the questions. And Spencer says, "Well, why wouldn't you just leave them in the building, collect them Monday afternoon, unlocked?" And there was no answers. There was no answers.
Very suspicious.
It is suspicious. These ballots were removed.
They were taken, and we've seen this from time to time. But hey, Derek, let's do this because we have to take a quick break, and I want to bring everybody back. We have a lot of people watching in Canada who are really offering a lot of observations. Stand by there, Derek.
Awesome.
Hold that thought, Aaron. I'm just. This is.
I told you it's going to be a crazy show, man.
This
is really. It's going to get crazier.
And because so when we get back, we're going to bring our whole panel up here, and if you see anything, if you're in Canada watching right now, you see something suspicious, let's get it all on the record here at Real Deal Media, as we're going to be documenting.
Let us
all
know, yeah,
of
for
this.
sure.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break here. Stand by there, Aaron. You're watching the one and only election coverage once again. Right here with Dean Ryan, yours truly, and the incredible Aaron Cates. When we get back, we're going to bring all the guys up here. We want to hear from you as well about what you're experiencing. And if you're American, are you as shocked as me that we can't find a peep of this, not even in alternative media? So we are the red-headed stepchildren here tonight as we are covering this election. So stand by, and we're going to get more into the thick of this here at Real Deal Media's Election Day coverage for the potential 51st state. Can I say that? Am I in trouble? When am I not? Stand by. We'll be back after this message. What you see here is not your average cacao. Nor is it cacao. The barrel of a somewhere back in the kitchen. But what you do is step one, pick up the very rich. This isn't your mother's chocolate. Simply the Pilsner as your chaser. If not, you'll fall down because this is so strong and it's oil and hot. My skin's falling out my fingers.
Kind of reminds me of Willy Wonka's river there. That kind of chocolate.
Well, Christine, I'm so glad you brought that up. Yes, indeed it is.
But the golden ticket.
In fact, if you must, in full transparency, I was doing backstrokes in this earlier.
The golden ticket.
You have that essence of Willy Wonka with an essence.
That's stirred by Oompa Loompas.
Yes, that's it. Or Baruka Shor.
Yesterday was more proof, as if any were needed, that the old relationship with the United States is over. As I've been saying, this is a tragedy, but it's also our new reality.
We can't wait for change. We are going to pass Affordability for a Change Act, Safety for a Change Act, Bring Home Our Jobs for a Change Act. I'm here to say, hope is on the way, change is on the way.
Join me, Aaron Cates, and Real Deal Media for Canada's historic Election Day 2025. This is the most important election of my lifetime, and as Canadians decide, are we a sovereign country or slaves to the globalists? This is for the soul of the nation and the future of North America.
Okay, we are back. And how about that wonderful photo of me and Aaron holding hands? Wasn't that beautiful? I cried when we did that photo shoot, I must admit, mainly because he has very soft hands. I don't know why. Or was it me? Who knows? Welcome back, everybody. I'm still Dean Ryan, as we're going to continue our very shadow banned election coverage as people in Canada who want Pierre or just a real change are shadow banned. And who isn't shadow banned these days? And if you're not indicted, you're not invited. But somebody who's going to be joining me shotgun here tonight is Toronto's most infamous, dangerous, controversial son himself, Mr. Inspector Aaron Cates. Aaron, welcome back after that little potty break there. I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, everything's great, fantastic, except we're losing in the polls. Can I give the updates as we're going along here?
Yeah, let's give the update, and we're going to bring our panel on. But yes, give us the latest, Aaron Cates over there. Tell us what's the latest number.
I'm watching CTV News, and I'm seeing the Liberals are in front with 49 seats. The Conservatives are 39 seats, so they're 10 seats behind right now. With 100 out of 343 seats already in play. So now it's 52-39 actually for the Liberals. Bloc Québécois has 11, NDP 1. So 52-39. So right now Conservatives are losing. It's not looking great. We're down by 13. But who knows? We still got about 200 seats
That's
left.
a good
So
point. Aaron,
yeah.
I didn't even think about that. The parliament, the seats of parliament are up for this election as
that's
well.
exactly what's going on.
I
You
didn't
need
even think about that.
172, I think it is, for a majority, and that would determine the prime minister. So
Interesting. Okay, I didn't
yeah.
even think about that. Here's some statements before we bring our all-star panel up here. We have Michelle Drum saying, "Lady was wearing Pierre Palaveri T-shirt when she went to vote. They wouldn't let her vote until she turned her shirt inside out." Listen, everybody, I called this. I knew that this is Mark Carney's election. They're not going to let this guy go because if the Liberals lose power, the so-called Liberals, the fascists, the CCP light, or let's call them CCP full-flavored at this point, then people are going to be going to jail for crimes against humanity like we've never seen. Even the Canadian Health Minister of Death, what's her name again?
Theresa Tam?
Yeah. Theresa Tam. Oh, my
You mean
God. She looks
the
like...
trans Tifa girl? She's a trans Tifa person, I think.
She's the trans Tifa of death.
Yeah.
If you're asking me. So, okay, let's bring our all-star panel up here. And Aaron, please
Incredible
keep an eye
panel.
on the polls here.
Yeah,
And do we have a
watching
poll
as we speak.
do we have a poll with Pierre and Palaveri and Mark Carney? What do we know what those numbers are?
Yeah, then the numbers, the Liberals are right now, it's 55 for the Liberals, Mark Carney, and 41 for Pierre Palaveri, Conservatives. So right now we're down by 14 seats. Not looking good, guys. Not looking good.
We have Meng's Cat says, "Dan, I can't hear you. Can you turn yourself up, please? Thank you." I'll think about it. It depends how I feel. Okay, let's bring in Derek Noonan. Thank you, Derek, for being here. Derek, can you hear me okay?
Oh,
Derek,
yeah, I can hear you guys fine.
Yeah,
awesome.
I don't know why Megs can't hear me. Maybe they don't want to hear me, Aaron, and that's fine. Leo's here, and the very present Bryce. Okay.
Awesome. Great panel. All-star cast right here, guys.
Okay, here's what I want. I want to ask everybody right off the bat, and I want to start with you, Leo, and then work our way around. Let's just be honest. What do we think of Pierre Palaveri's performance up until this point here tonight? Let's start with you, Leo. What are your thoughts about Pierre's performance as the opposition leader here?
Well, he's been spot on. Okay, he's been pushing his agenda for the last 36 months. Okay, in his axe attacks, boots not suits, chicks without dicks. Okay, you gotta love it. Really, you do. You gotta love it. Yeah,
I didn't hear
more or
about
less, more or less, right? But he's been spot on. Okay, who wants to pay more taxes? Really, we're so overtaxed here in Canada that you can't even breathe anymore. I'm getting messages from people on the daily that they can't even afford to put food on their table in this country.
Who's voting for these people? I don't get it. This doesn't look right.
Nobody.
64-45, guys. 64-45 in Liberals.
My advice, and I'm not a financial guy like Aaron Cates and Bryce. Okay, these guys know their money. These guys are rich. If I had
Aaron's
their
a
money,
numbers guy. He's a numbers
if I
guy.
had their money, I'd burn all mine. But
come on,
I've been
Leo.
given some financial advice. If you got lines of credits, rack them up and take all that money out of the bank and go see Bryce and buy some gold and some silver. Okay, because really, you can't go wrong. Okay, and then let Mr. Carney bail you out.
Yeah,
good
I'll you out
point.
that way by buying some gold.
Good point. Very good point. Bryce, let's go to you. As Aaron said, 53 to 39. And I'm not sure. Is the election and the way they count it? It's very similar to the U.S. elections. I would imagine the way the prime minister kind of gets accounted for. Is it not? But let's start with your review of the performance of Pierre Palaveri, Bryce Wade.
Sure. Just so everybody's clear, it's Polyev, just to make that easier to say for everybody.
Did you get that, Aaron? Did you get that?
No, we say Palaveri around here. We also say Horror Havana too. So
yeah, I say that all
having
the
trouble.
time.
Go ahead, Bryce.
So I want to make something fairly clear, right? The majority of Canadian elections are determined when Toronto votes because the majority of the seats are in Ontario. And so what we're really looking for in this election is what happens in Quebec, in French-speaking Canada, and whether or not the Bloc can pull a whole bunch of seats away from the Liberals, and how much of Ontario goes to the Conservatives. So if it's a decent tie in Ontario, it means that it'll probably be a Conservative government because the majority of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and BC will probably go Conservative as well. Depends on what happens in the cities in those areas, obviously, because those are usually NDP territory. But the other important thing here is that typically what happened in these elections historically is that the NDP would split the left, right? So there'd be some Liberals and some harder left NDP people, because the NDP were basically the far left socialist party. Well,
Can you
now
explain what is that acronym for Americans who may not know what NVP means?
NDP means New Democratic Party, but they're effectively the socialists.
What the hell, New Democratic Party? It's so confusing. I mean,
Jagmeet Singh.
Jack Singh. Okay, now we know who we're talking about. Okay,
yeah. And so we can go down a whole rabbit hole with Jagmeet Singh alone, but we'll save that for another discussion because it's not really relevant to tonight.
We will do a show on him.
Yeah, it's probably valuable. Right. But basically, what's happened in the last 10 years is the Liberals, which everybody historically thought Canada was basically a little bit of a centrist party, but we leaned a little bit socially left and like to be a little bit fiscally conservative. None of that's happened anymore. All of that's been thrown out the window. And effectively what we have now is a center left party, which is the Conservatives, a far right party, which is the PPC, a far left party, which is the Liberals, and an even further left party, a far left party, which is the NDP, and then a further left party, which is the communist Liberals, because they're really not liberal anymore. If you look at their policies, and if I can bring up my screen for a second here,
they want to jab us and kill us all. That's their policy.
Yes, basically. Effectively. And if I can bring up my screen here, because you asked earlier, who's voting for these people? Well, this is who's voting for these people. Basically, if you look at all of their policies, this is what they believe. This is the type of people that are like, hey, I want more communism and you should too, right? But the other part to think here, and this is... Sorry?
Go ahead. Continue.
So I wrote this on X to some liberal fool that was like, I want Mark Carney. Well, this is the policies that they have implemented. So mass immigration, we've had 5 million people be imported to Canada in the last 5 years. That's like almost 5% of our population, if not more than that, 10%, more than 10%. It's 12%. The SDTC scandal, and this is basically treason. This Winnipeg scandal alone, Arrive scam, is just a joke. I mean, this is corruption. None of it was ever investigated. Nobody ever suffered from it. Skyrocketing crime. They basically decriminalized crime and let out and reduced gun crime with the people, like later in here, C21. This is basically disarmament of law-abiding citizens. But in C75, they basically reduced gun crime consequences if you're caught with an illegal firearm. And these two, which is C21 and C63, are effectively censorship laws similar to what are in the UK right now, where you can be arrested for hate speech or making people feel bad. Like these are and C293 here is basically the loss of sovereignty completely. But if you take all of this stuff in aggregate, this is a communist coup of Canada. And to your question earlier about like I'll make this last point just to put a bow tie on this. To your question about Polyev and the Conservatives have done an absolutely terrible job of reminding everybody in the country, this is what they did. This is the results that they have given us for the last 10 years. Terrible job doing that.
Okay, Bryce, you're speaking my exact thoughts. Aaron, I got to be honest with you, and Derek, I'm going to go to you next. I started watching the Pierre's stump speeches at his campaign on his trip, and I was not inspired at all. It was like watching a salesman at Sears, try to get me excited about buying a vacuum. This was his to win. How could he not be hitting?
Well, we have foreign interference, Dean.
Thank you, Bryce. I stand corrected, but we have foreign interference. But I want to go to you, Derek, because that's my take. Exactly what Bryce said. You want to expand on that? On how would you rate Pierre's performance up into this part because he hasn't said a peep about the censorship or even a fraction of the things that Trump talked about on the last 3 elections, for that fact. Derek Noonan.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. So I'm going to echo Bryce and yourself. I'm just going to expand upon it. You're absolutely spot on. Where Polyev did okay. Well, he was talking basically kitchen table issues. Where I was frustrated with him on is we didn't hear about the interference. We didn't hear about the scandals. We didn't hear about the theft. So when I was out heckling, that's what I was talking. I strictly focused on that to get the message out that my lives, that people would hear that, because Polyev was not saying that. He didn't bring that up. And then the other thing that frustrated me about Polyev is he should have went back and from when Donald Trump started talking to Justin, what did Donald Trump want? He wanted the borders cleaned up and he wanted the fentanyl cleaned up.
Yeah.
He didn't talk about it. He didn't.
Where's
He
the
didn't
border
talk
store?
about it. Where's the border store? That just went off the table. And then the other thing, though Carney uses the Trump fear. I'm the only one that can deal with Trump. Well, Pierre, use your own fear. Everyone listen.
Yeah.
Mark Carney's a neo-Marxist. This is what's going to happen. Don't believe him. Don't believe him. We're headed for neo-Marxism. Is that what you guys want? I was screaming for him to say that. All he had to say that is we're headed for neo-Marxism, everybody. Is that what you want?
Okay, that's a good point, Aaron. You've heard everybody here, and we'll get to the solution of it all. But let me tell you something: is nobody mentioned one time the horrible crimes and terrible record of Trudeau that brought Canada to this very position, what we're seeing here today.
All the scandals,
Yeah, and nobody's talking about Trudeau. Where the hell is Trudeau? He's quiet.
He's going to be back. He's going to be back the next day once the Rose.
But Aaron, if it was me, if it was me running in the Conservative Party, I would have been hammering home on that, like Trump did with Biden, hammering home on that as Carney's an extension of that. And why do we think, Aaron? Why do we think that Trump is badgering Pierre? Why is that?
Yeah,
is
it's very interesting.
Trying to say he's not a good guy? Is there something more to that, or is this Trump playing mind games with the Canadians?
Firstly, the biggest thing that I think that we're all missing here is one thing that's really interesting is why did Pierre not do so many podcasts? He's got the whole Patriot Front movement, conservatives. I could have gotten Melissa Lanceman on my show. They don't want to do podcasts. They didn't want to come out and be free speech because maybe we will talk about President Trump. Maybe we're going to talk about jib jabs. Maybe we're going to talk about the trucker convoy trying to get all the mandates and the Emergencies Act and something like that. But the thing is, what's interesting is President Trump came out today and he said, Canadians, choose wisely, choose the best leader. And I think he's very trolling. But I also know President Trump, he's a genius. Come on, folks. He is a genius. Okay. He builds buildings, golf courses. You can say elbows up all you want. But, when you're building and you're organized and you're an architect, you've been doing this for so many years and your brain, the guy barely sleeps like 2 hours a day. He knows what he's talking about. I think that he's pushing Canada into, if Carney gets in, Alberta succeeds or leaves Canada, Saskatchewan leaves, Quebec's probably going to go, and there's a confederation. It's up to us to figure out what we got to do.
That's a good point. I want to harp on that. My next question I'm going to ask everybody is, with the certain outcomes, where do we see that going before we get to a solution? But why don't we take a few questions from this really effective audience here at RDM.
All-Star cast.
Absolutely, all-star cast. Okay, we have over there at Rumble, we have Twisted Twister, no relation. They're asking, are Canadians concerned that Mark Carnage could be installed like a toilet, just like Joe Biden was installed in the States? Are we? I think we're all concerned at that. That's an easy
already
answer,
happened.
but
he was installed exactly like that.
Yeah, he's like Gerald Ford, but like horribly worse. Okay,
Dean, you might see me crying on live TV. Or you might see that.
Well,
all of us crying like babies.
That's what we're here for. Okay, we have Rebel Mammon that says, Inspector Cates, positive thinking, please. Yeah, Aaron, what a downer he is tonight. Right, Marnie? I agree. We also have Hazmat saying Canada is the new California. Hey, look, I just read this today, everybody, that they're now imposing the euthanasia now officially for Canadian soldiers. That seems to be the case. And Canada has been leading the way for euthanasia, where California has adopted it quietly. So that's a great observation, Hazmat. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. We have Rebel Mama who continues. She said, quote, my parents are elderly. I went online to get the mail-in ballots before the deadline. Nothing came in the mail. I asked the polling station and their names were marked as mailed, but no answers. Yeah, this is massive amounts of cheating. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
This is a fake election. In my opinion, this is a fake election. This
People
is a
are
bullshit
getting extra
election.
ballots in the mail too. And also, there was somebody, a friend of mine, Dave Borgman. He went to go vote, and he gave like a fake name and a fake piece of whatever, I guess a bank statement or something. And he went and voted under a fake name because they have an option that if you don't have ID, a photo ID, you can just bring a bank statement or something that proves that you're like living in Canada or resident. Isn't that stupid? Like, I don't know.
This is Aaron. This is stupid. But let's go. We're going to go around here. We're going to start with Leo, and the question is, what do we see post-election here? We know they're going to postpone it, and they're going to say, "Well, we're not done counting, or our counters have arthritis. We need more time." And
Soon.
yeah, let's go to Leo. As Sherrod says, I've said if Carney wins, 51st state, fellas, drill, baby, drill. Let's go to you, Leo.
Good to see you, man.
Tell us how it is, Leo.
Well, this is what happened to me today. Okay, we had ours at the Moose Lodge. Okay, our voting poll, and that's sort of like the Knights of Columbus, whatever. There's a bar set up. I go there, I drink, I shoot pool on Saturday nights. Right, while I'm on house arrest, I can't. Right, once that's done, I'll go back. Right, but I walked in and I said, I can't even get a beer in this stinking place. Everybody laughed, and it must have got everybody off guard because they didn't even ask me for ID. Okay. And I didn't know till I was driving down the road that, hey, they didn't even ask me for ID to even vote this election, right? Now, I've been stating it, okay, and I really love Wayne Peters, okay? He's so based. I hope he comes on your show tonight. But Wayne Peters, okay, and I see eye to eye with that guy. Now, we only have two parties in Canada, and that's the Liberal and the Conservatives. It's always been either conservative or liberal, liberal, conservative, okay? Now, in order for the Canadian people to open their eyes, okay, the Conservatives are going to fail. Okay, and I hope I'm wrong. Really, Aaron, I hope I'm wrong. That we get back on our feet. We become Canada as it was. Okay, not as it is. But in order for people to open their eyes to get a third party out there to vote, I voted Conservative. And if they fail, it's all on Canada, right? And I hope the Canadian people finally open their eyes. Like Derek Noonan said, I love Derek. He's a rock star. You're going to see an influx of people moving to Alberta. Okay.
Interesting.
Yes, and I might be one of them. My wife wants, like, my house arrest ends on the 27th of November or 27th of May, and she wants to go to Costa Rica. Well, she might get a vacation. It ain't going to be Costa Rica. It's going to be Alberta, and we're going to stay there.
Well, that's interesting you say Costa Rica because that's where Trudeau's trying to get asylum at. Let's go to you, Derek. In this post-rigged election, as I'm going to tell you my thoughts lastly, but let's go to you. As where do you see this going after this rigged election, which seems to be rigged puppets, playing, WWE wrestling here? What's your take on it, Derek Noonan, in a post-election? How's Canada how's it going to look?
Okay, so the way it has it's heading, that Carney would have a government in place. I'm going to look at things on a little bit of a macro level, more on the world stage. As soon as Carney was selected with the Liberal Party, he didn't address Canada. He immediately got on a plane and he flew to Europe and he spoke with European Union, van der Leyen, Starmer, and Marcon. Then he came back. What's happened is there is a silent war that's going on between the U.S. and China. And China has control. If you notice that as soon as Trump came in, it was the Panama Canal, it was Greenland to protect the Arctic.
That's right.
China last week, if you notice, the ambassador for China sent out a note urging all Canadians to join with China against the bully Trump.
Insane.
Earlier that week, Xi Jinping had a 2-hour conversation with the European Union, Stammer and Marcon crew, with the U.S. not invited. What you're witnessing is you're witnessing potential switch geopolitically. I don't think you'll see NATO past a year from now. Mark Carney came out and he said right off the start, our relationship with the U.S. as it was before will be dead. He will form alliances with Europe. And we all know the European Union. At the top is the CCP. The CCP controls, wanted infiltration throughout the world. They used the World Economic Forum for that, and they infiltrated the UN for that. This is what we're going to see. Carney will move quickly. He will, if you read his book Values, that's basically Karl Marx. He's going to use his green agenda. He's going to ram that through, which we will see new Marxism. Now that will wake up. I'm hoping that will wake up some more Canadians. But this is what we're going to see. You're going to see a pull of Canada.
Yeah.
Now
Right.
I don't know. I don't believe, and this is my theory, is Trump wins either way. If Carney wins, he knows Trump can pull Alberta out of the mix and create chaos.
Right.
If Poilievre wins, Trump will give him a deadline. I want that CCP out in 30 days or I'm coming in. Either way, this is how I see things unfolding over the next year.
That's
I
a
like
great that's
Very
a
good,
great
Dirk.
perspective, Bryce. I'm going to go to you, but as you saw there, China is sending American Boeing planes back, and this is happening today. On top of that, Bryce, I don't know if you saw this, and I really want to really focus and hone in on China, but the port of Los Angeles, the biggest port in the United States right now, they're now turning away. Yes, that's right. They're turning away shipments from China to cease. Now, you may ask yourself, well, Dean, why is that? Well, let me tell you why that is. As I was one of the first to report on this, well, China was bringing in the kids through the shipping crates, as I told everybody in 2020, but they were bringing the weapons of war through the ports because China literally owns every port around the world until Trump got in there. And tore up all the contracts. For instance, Barry Soetoro, the long-legged Mac Daddy, gave him a 40-year contract to run the Long Beach port. And God knows what kind of contracts they have in Canada. We know they have FIPA, the Foreign Investment Protection Act in Canada, where you could just set up shop, put your feet up and bring your military too for discounts. But this is what China's doing. And Derek Noonan is spot on to say we're in a proxy war with China because they have usurped the world. They were promised that this was their century to dominate. Bryce, take it away, because China truly is the X factor here, not Trump.
Right.
Yeah. So I dedicate a lot of my time to monitoring China, what's happening in China. So let me be absolutely and abundantly clear with this. There's no it is not an economic war that we're fighting with China. It is an actual war. Communist China, the communists have been at war with the West since their inception 100 years ago, right? So there is no world where China's supremacy over the U.S. is a good thing for anybody on this planet, right? And what we saw in the last 4 years with Biden and the last 10 years with the liberals is the left have sold out the West. They hate the West. They hate Western values. They don't value free speech. All of their policies that they're putting in are an import of foreigners that hate America because they wanted to stabilize the West and destroy it. Because that is not only the goal of the communists and the radicals, but also the oligarchs that are so facilitating this. So it's important to understand that the rise of China was explicitly and only possible because of Wall Street. They invested trillions of dollars into China to allow that possibility at the outset. It would not have been possible if not for Bill Clinton and Henry Kissinger and the other bunch of morons that allowed that to happen.
Ping pong diplomacy. You have CIA installing Mao Zedong in 1949. You have the Great Leap Forward, over 80 million dead conservatively. But Bryce, you're absolutely correct, and we are in a complete and utter war with China.
More importantly than that,
espionage too. Go ahead. Continue, please.
But yeah, more importantly than that, this war is against humanity, right? There's two wars that are happening right now. One is the East versus West, which China is obviously the East, and we are obviously the West. But the second one, and the more important one, is top down, right? So it's the oligarchy, the like BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, that have collectively like $30 trillion that own all of Wall Street and stuff. They have explicitly said through the WEF and Klaus Schwab and all these other idiots that they are explicitly going to take all of your stuff and kill you. They've said it, not me. I'm just repeating the stuff, the insanity that they have, and I'll bring up a meme shortly to prove that. This has been in all sorts of books and cataloged in all sorts of different ways. So here's the important part, right? So going back to your question previously about the disposition of what's going to happen to Canada and more importantly the West in general after this election, this is from a macro perspective, as Derek was saying, is that Canada is one of the richest. Resource-rich places on the planet, right up there with Russia. Like, we have all of the energy, all of the materials that we need to be completely self-sufficient. We imported millions of people that we don't need. Why? Because it's a war, right? These people are coming here to destabilize and take everything that we have. So regardless of what happens tonight, and as I'm watching here, it very much looks like Carney is going to stay in power, unfortunately, which is a death sentence for Canada. So just what the other gentlemen here were saying is, and I have a brother that lives in Alberta. A lot of my family is from Alberta, and he's been touring BC and a lot of other places. Everybody that has brain cells in their head to see what's going on, it has concluded that if Carney wins, Canada's dead. And one of two things is going to happen to the people that believe that is either I'm leaving because I don't want to be in a communist hellhole, or I'm going to Alberta and we're going to separate and tell these idiots to get bent. And I'm one of the people in the second category. I'm not leaving my country. I was born here. I'm fighting. I'm a patriot, but I'm also not going to deal with a bunch of idiots that want communism and deal with a bunch of idiots that are going to just self-delete. Right. So the only chance that patriots have in Canada is to be in Alberta, break away, and then whatever happens to the rest of the Canada. And I'll finish on this point because you guys brought up Trump a whole bunch. Trump is not the the leader of Canada. He is a very smart person that knows exactly what he wants. And to fight a war is a game of logistics. You only have what you have when you go to war. You don't have what you have in 10 years. You have what you have now. And the goal of Trump very clearly has been to make a fortress North America to confront China, and hopefully, and I'm not sure about this because I still don't fully believe that he's 100% on our side because of some of the policies that he put forward, but to confront the oligarchy and the World Economic Forum and all of those idiots, right? That's a three-front war, including and not limited to Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. That's a six-front war. And you can't do that if you have a communist dictatorship, more or less, on your doorstep with an unchecked border that's like thousands of kilometers long. Like, it's not going to happen, right? So regardless of what happens, and I'll leave off on this point. Something has to happen in Trump's mind with Canada. That's what the whole reason for the tariff war was monetary, not just because it was an unsecure border, because it's a threat to American security. So.
Bryce, you're speaking music to the soul of my being. Aaron,
we're playing the game.
You want to add to that, Aaron? Go ahead.
We're playing the game of Risk here. I mean, it's all geopolitical. What Trump's doing, his moves, and then what Xi Jinping's doing with his moves and installing this and that. But I think it's going to get really out of hand. And the thing is, I think all of us can clearly say if the U.S. sent the military into Canada, I will point out all the traitors, liberals, communists. Within 24 hours, we can clean up ship. And I think all of us would agree that we would definitely help President Trump on this.
So I picture Aaron as the drummer boy in the army. Okay, let me bring this point up. Aaron read my mind again, which is quite frightening. But listen, everybody, we're going to do a little science experiment here today, and there's something to be said, too, about these leaders. As our mole Forsetti told us, all these leaders they really do love trannies. Whether it's Trudeau, whether it's the president of Argentina, the president of Finland, or Macron, who loves his daddy, who's a tranny, or even Starmer, who is caught on TV looking like this, like, Baby Spice over here. But why is that? Well, China is, they want to kill the Anglo-Saxon. The replacement theory is true. All right. They got people of Anglo-Saxon to hate their culture. They got Canadians to hate their culture. Americans, you name it. The people of UK doesn't even look like UK anymore. To the point, you go to Google right now as we're going to do this experiment live on television here. You go to Google, type in white mothers. Does everybody see that? White mothers. All right, you can't watch a commercial today on modern television and see a white couple. Everything is all intersex as they bring us to transhumanism. Now go to images. Look at that. White mothers are not white anymore. They're all mixed. Look at that. There's your Canadian couple right there. CCP and just good old Kimberly, Susie Q. Look at that. That is a great example of this replacement theory. There it is. And they're doing this as to scrub the idea of white couples, but also to demonize the Anglo-Saxon. Why is that? Because it's the dissidents who came here from the monarchies of Europe. They came west to escape that, to fight it off, like the Irish and all of us here. And that's why they want to replace each and every Canadian with Chinese, who are the most obedient. You go anywhere in California right now, you're going to see some Asian people in their damn cars wearing a mask and an N95 still to this day. And this is what they want. And they're obedient, and they want to rid the West by replacing them with the East. And that's what's at stake here when you get down right to the meat potatoes, Aaron Cates.
I'll let you know the updated stats is 138
please tell us
for the
right now.
Liberals. 138 for the Liberals.
I'm getting really worked up here and very angry. Go ahead.
Awesome. 96 for the Conservatives. And CTV News is already declaring a Liberal win. So it's 136 to 98 right now. It's not looking good, folks. Looks like I'll have to get my chopsticks for tomorrow's lunch.
Okay, so Leo.
Unbelievable.
Leo.
Unbelievable.
Rigged.
I knew this was going to happen. Here's what's going to happen, everybody. We're seeing a repeat of World War II right now. It's up to the Americans to liberate Canada. It's up to the Americans to liberate the United Kingdom and Australia. And this is what Trump knew. I don't believe Pierre Poilievre. I think he was in the bag for. He's from the WEF. I didn't really like his game to begin with. It's up to us Americans now to liberate our friends and family in the North. Is it not, Leo, from almost Detroit down there?
Freedom to me is going to come out the end of a smoking fucking barrel. Okay.
That's right.
And that's the only way it's going to happen here in Canada. What I'm seeing right now is just unfucking believable. When they don't even ask you for ID at the polling stations, okay, and people are taking fucking boxes home and they're counting them. We got a big fucking problem in this country, and it's going to be up to the Canadian people to fix the problems. Okay, I'm 55 years old, and I'm to the point right now, okay, that I'll lay my motherfucking life down on the line for my family and my country. Okay, and if they want to go there, I'm there, baby, and I'm on house arrest. I'm not asking. I'm not saying that I'm inciting or fucking being seditious.
No,
I'm telling you the fucking truth of the matter.
And
okay,
and may I add too, what a youthful 55 you are. I would have never guessed. You're a very good, youthful looking. And this is true. You can't vote your way out of this kind of communism here. This is a corporate Chinese centric model. And you have every leader in every party that has sold out from espionage to secrets from the weapons industry. We're dealing with that here. And this is why China was promised to control the AI statures throughout the United States. Derek's so disgusted with it all, he just threw up like myself. I don't blame you, Derek. I don't blame you. Bryce, we're going to go.
Elbows up.
Yeah, elbows up. Okay, here's some people from the crowd.
I'm going to give someone an elbow tomorrow.
Let's cover that.
Go ahead. Drank in 20 minutes.
We have some people on Rumble saying the following. We have Big B649 saying it's a joke in Canada time for U.S. to save this hellhole. I knew this was going to happen, everybody. I didn't want to say it. I'm trying to play along. We have Mr. Watland says need a judicial watch in Canada. I think Canadians as a whole outside of Alberta, they're usurped. They have a mind disease. You know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? They're more concerned about hockey right now. I don't know why. I've never liked the sport. I mean, no offense. Okay, we have Hazmat says, and flooding the United States with fentanyl. Yeah, they're killing. They've managed to convince the Canadians to kill themselves and take the miracle jabs. I mean, we know what the Mounties have done. We've had Kirk Reese, who is a whistleblower. We know what they're doing to him and his family. My
We won't.
God.
We
When
won't
you
send
have when
the.
you have federal
Go ahead.
inmates voting on the motherfucking election here in Canada, people that are doing life, okay, voting,
Okay.
okay, and the liberals are sending out the paperwork for them to vote, okay, because there
Well,
might be hope that they'll get parole or whatever, right? You have no fucking rights once you're in a federal institution. You gave
Leo,
up your rights.
we don't want to get banned on YouTube with
Yeah, yeah.
any
Watch the
colorful
swearing. Yeah.
Canadianese language here.
They'll
That's what they're
upset
doing to
her.
this channel here.
If I can add one thing quickly.
Derek,
Go
yes, get in the arena here. Come on.
So a year ago, if you go back, you have to look. Jagmeet Singh sat down with Justin Trudeau to
That's right.
redesign some of the writings, and what I mean by that is your rural writings your rural writings are mostly conservative. Your urban writings are liberal. So if you notice, last sitting there was 338 seats. This sitting there's 143. But what they did is on some of the writings where they were close, like say outside of Edmonton, is they would take a rural writing, but they'll carve out a portion of the urban Edmonton writing to outweigh the conservatives. So those rural writings, less populated. So if I like to talk more, but I had written it down, so I don't have it in front of me. But these are the tricks that were done before this election came in.
Easily.
So this is all obviously been planned. Now we're really hoping is if we can get a minority in there now. Chances are what will happen is the Liberals might need to block. That's our best option at this point in time. But if we get a majority Liberal, then this is going to get very dangerous right now.
No, it is. It is. We're going to go to you next, Bryce. But let me bring some of these comments up. And Leo, you're such a hard act to follow. I mean, we're just short of saying, everybody, we ain't got time to bleed, to quote the old Jesse Ventura of yesteryear. I mean, that's where we are in Canada. And I think Alberta is the new Costa Rica, as Leo was saying. You got to go there in order to come back in a way. But here we have, over there on Rumble, we have a Rebel Mama who says it looked like Pierre threw this in. I'm telling you, I saw his speech just the other day, preparing for tonight, and I'm like, this is supposed to be
stay out of this.
This is supposed to be inspiration. Pierre's inspiration. I was not inspired by anything. He was not even enthusiastic about it. I think he threw it in. I think you're absolutely correct. We are getting reports the election website crashed again. That's very true. We also have Vince Clortho saying Trump needs to smuggle guns to Canada. Conservative CCP infiltrated. Yeah. And we're not talking muskets either. We need at least Tommy guns at this point. We also have Maddie Lynn says, I have faith that Trump will step up and do something. Well, that's what it's going to take, everybody. That's what it's going to take. Bryce, I'm going to go to you. We have Derek Noon who stepped out, but real quick, Bryce, I have to, where is Canada right now with the universal basic income? The UK just made the switch. They've also, as you said, they have the Restricted Online Protected Speech Act. If you're watching BitChute, you can't watch that anymore in England, and Canada's going to follow suit, and so are the blue states right here in the U.S. Take it away, Bryce.
Yeah, so universal basic income has already been passed. It's called U233 in Canada. So the framework has already been implemented. Basically, they just needed a quote unquote manufactured mandate to move forward. And so, if you could bring up my screen, I want to illustrate this for everybody in really clear picture. So what this is basically the Committee of 300 is kind of the pinnacle of the control structure of the planet. So you have basically the 300 richest families on the planet that have a representative basically deciding what happens with all of the funds and subsequent people. But basically what this is saying in short form is that the people that are the most problematic, i.e. the West, because we have rights and we care about rights and we care about people and ourselves and our families and are willing to fight for it, we are the threat to their supremacy. And so if they wipe out the West, i.e. the US and Europe, there'll be nobody to really oppose their power. And so there's basically three groups of people that are a threat and a an enemy of the West and of humanity in general, and that's the oligarchs that are facilitating all of this, the communists that are carrying it out, and the radicals that are just lunatics that don't care about anything but their stupid religion. Now, that can take a bunch of different tracks, but Muslims are basically who we're talking about, because they have basically said they are at war with the West and they're going to try and destroy the West. So I'm sorry, bro, that makes you an enemy because I don't want to die. And so at the end of the day, what's going to happen after this now, if Carney does win, is that Canada's probably going to make a break apart, because there's going to be people that are not willing to be here. So Canada's going to be seized and captured without firing a shot. And so I really looked at this, a long time ago, and why I'm so sad about it and why I'm so annoyed about it is that this stuff has been happening in clear view of everybody that cared to look at it for years. And because we stuck our head in the sand for so long and refused to do anything about it, like our turnout for voting is like 55%. Like, that is pathetic. And you get the you get the government you deserve, right? There's an old quote, I can't remember who said it, but we are ultimately getting what we deserve for this, because we've been so apathetic and so
that's a good
uncaring
point.
about
Why
what's
is
happening
that?
for so long.
Let me ask everyone here, why is there only 55% turnout? Because look, there's something to be said why there's hardly any coverage in the U.S. You think there would be with this huge election, but there's nothing. So I guess I'm asking everybody, was there a lot of promotion for this big election in Canada as a whole, no matter, who's running? Was there any kind of promotion
For the Liberals?
Because
like yeah, take it away.
Go ahead, Lee.
English.
Sorry, start again. Go ahead.
Who, me?
Yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
45% of Canadians that are in Canada don't speak English. Okay, they don't care. They come from shithole countries. Excuse my French. Okay, and this is beautiful to them, right? They don't know any different. Okay, so this is a safe haven until you get run down in Vancouver by some maniac in a car. It's a safe haven, okay, and they don't see any different. Okay, as they're not in Congo, they're not in Bangladesh, they're not in the Philippines, they're in Canada, right? So, and they look at the government that let them in the last 10 years, and who was it? The Liberals. So they think that they owe the Liberals a favor. Okay, in the end.
Interesting.
In the end, the favor is going to come
5 million
back.
people in 5 years. Let me repeat that. That's one full city of Edmonton per year.
What is that a month? 5 million?
About 80,000 a month.
80,000 a month. And you know what, Leo? Do we
That's
know
only official. It's actually probably higher than that.
Where's Quebec and that whole French, kind of community? Where do they fall in this election? Is it just right under Mark Carnage?
No, actually, the Bloc, okay, they're more center with the Conservatives, and that's a good thing that the Bloc has 23 seats right now, and the Conservatives have 119, the Liberals have 150. If they could pull up, it'll be a minority government, which is good. And like I think Derek said it, that they could team up, okay, because there's going to be favors along the way, just like NDP did with the Liberals. Jagmeet Singh had a coalition. They have a coalition. The Bloc will have a coalition because the Conservatives will give concessions to the Bloc the same way in order to get their stuff passed. But if it's a majority Liberal party, you could bet your bottom dollar that Danielle Smith in Alberta will be going for a referendum very soon.
Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk Turkey now, because we've seen Scotland try to pull this. Texas, if Trump didn't get into where he is now, I saw, Texas doing the same thing. Let's talk about these next steps now with Alberta, which is the Texas of Canada. Are they going to make their own trade deals with the U.S. and the rest of the world? How do we see this going in a realistic format here starting tomorrow?
We could see another election very soon if it's a minority Liberal government. That's if the Conservatives and the Bloc have enough seats in order to vote a non-confidence against the Liberals. As it looks right now, the NDP are being disseminated. They have 6 seats. They may not even have party status after this. But the key thing is keeping the Liberals at a minority, okay, in order for the Bloc and the Conservatives to call a general. All they have to do is call for another election, right? That'll happen in probably a year because they're all broke now after this one, right?
Yeah,
but it'll happen.
I got to tell you, Aaron, I got to tell you here. This is key here, and nobody's brought it up, but I'm that kind of guy here tonight. is Canada, believe it or not, many people may not know, is Canada still under the monarchy? Yes, the German tourists who live in the ashtray called Buckingham Palace. Here's what's about to happen. From our insider, Charles, who's already dead, so they have a new Charles. Whoever this new guy is, he's about to step down. As I say Charles. People,
Mr. Fingers.
The Sausage King of London is about to step down. And this is a key point. I don't see William taking the throne. I see the end of the monarchy as we know it. There's a reason, Bryce Wade, that Trump wore blue at the Pope funeral, almost like some kind of just litigator.
He wasn't the only one.
Yeah, he was wearing blue. As we welcome back. What I'm saying, Leo, is we're about to see the end of the monarchy. I don't see William stepping up to the plate. That kind of changes the rules, even things we don't even know about in the Commonwealth. And I think it's up for grabs, and I think that's what Trump is going for in the future with Australia and Canada. You want to comment on that, Bryce, or Aaron? You want to take a stab first?
Go ahead.
And then,
Go ahead,
we'll get Bryce.
Sure.
Yeah, no,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Actually, Dean, do me a small favor. Repeat the question because I was just looking at the stats. 154 to 118. My apologies.
Oh,
Repeat
no.
that
I
question
said,
again?
if you were a tree in the forest and you fell, no one heard you. No, I'm saying Charles is due to step down. They're going to claim it's illness, okay?
Right.
William's not going to take the throne. This is the end of the monarchy, which Canada is still under the monarchy, hence the Commonwealth. So where I'm getting at is this is Trump's moment to then save Canada, because there's not going to be a power broker like the Windsors in the way who have a stranglehold on that. So what you want to take a stab at that?
Yeah.
As the next step forward, Aaron, and then Bryce. Go ahead.
I think Trump is going to somehow expose Carney as such a villain that he's just got too many ties, this and that, and either he's going to be, I'm not going to say that white hats are going to step in and arrest him or something, but it might be so obvious that he either might have to be arrested or step down. That might be a possibility. But the other possibility, like we mentioned before, is Alberta leaving with Saskatchewan and maybe Quebec separating, which might push things into, where the Patriots come in and may just be able to push the communists out, basically like that, with the help of the Americans. But this election, if it was a little bit closer, maybe they wouldn't have fooled me so far. I've talked to so many people, guys, so many people. I've counted like maybe a handful of liberal voters. So especially in my circles, I don't know anybody. It was way blue. We were expecting a blue wave that didn't happen. And these numbers right here look so completely rigged and fooled. It's
So
not
rigged.
even, it's not even.
Aaron, I mean,
ridiculous.
even Stevie Wonder could have told you it was rigged. That's how bad it is, everybody. and he can see, so maybe I shouldn't use that term.
I'm gonna cry
Bryce,
soon.
let's talk. Bryce, let's talk Royal Turkey here, because the Magna Carta needs to be coming back into place here, and if that's even possible. But there's not going to be a monarchy. And Carolyn Shepard, thank you for seeing that too. And yeah, Nostradamus prediction. I would say Albert Pike is really screaming loud. We have people that said Prince William also wore blue and a black tie. Yeah, because he killed his wife. Essentially, we're seeing a fake one. We have just another one before we go to Bryce here. We have Deborah Miller says Canada has been a free country since 1931. They have been lying to Canadians for years. And yes, Carolyn, Stevie really isn't blind. I was pretty stunned, too, to learn that as well. I heard he's a pilot with Cessna planes. Bryce, you want to comment on that? As I don't see the monarchy a thing, and the parliamentary system might be a thing in the past, too, going forward. Bryce Wade.
Well, those are two different things. So, I don't think the royal family is going to go anywhere. They're one of the power brokering families on the planet, so I can't see them just disappearing into the ether like you're kind of intimating. But the different aspect of that is the parliamentary system. Like we have in Canada a parliamentary system where the Governor General, which is effectively the representative of the Crown in Canada, that still has power over the elections, because they can basically have an election, reject an election. They have a lot of power that they really shouldn't, because it's an obsolete form of government that has been proven so unbelievably explicitly clearly by Justin Trudeau, and how unbelievably corrupt and incompetent his government was, that the crown really is useless completely. Like, they didn't even do what they were supposed to do. It's a placement of the government itself, so it's not like they're independent in any way. It's not like they're holding the government to account, unless of course it was a liberal that was holding a conservative accountable. But the point that I'm making is that the government, the system of government that we have, is garbage. It's being proven so right now as we sit here, right? And I think the more important factor here is that the underlying power structures in the world, which is the monetary system, don't care, right? And to go back to Trump a little bit, right? When we have the referendum in Alberta to separate, I think they will separate, because there's going to be so many people like myself that are going to be like, well, if Canada's dead, I'm out. Like, you guys are so stupid, and this is just such a bunch of absolute nonsense that I'm done. Like, I can't stress this enough, right? It is, what is happening right now is a communist coup of a Western country.
Oh, absolutely.
It already happened in the UK. It's already happened all across the EU. Everybody in the West is now on the chopping block. And I'll kind of leave off with this point.
Yes.
This is a war for your survival. It doesn't matter where you are on this planet. It doesn't matter what you believe. You are part of this, because there is not a single person on this planet that is going to be able to escape this. And this is why. This is the last point that I'll make.
Yeah.
At a certain point, okay, we have what we have because people bled and died for and fought for all of the rights that we have. People died for that. People killed for that. And we are losing them as we sit here. And at some point, it is going to dawn on somebody in power that I don't need soldiers to enforce my will anymore. I've got drones. And as soon as somebody makes that leap, what we're going to have is basically Terminator nonsense. And if you disagree, you die, right? That's the point of central bank digital currencies. That's the point of digital IDs, to have absolute control over everybody. And everybody that decides, me among them, that's like, hey, I don't want to play your stupid games with your stupid funny money, and I'm just going to go into the bush and say, get bent to everybody. Well, they'll find you with a drone, because nobody is going to be able to escape this. So either you have a choice. This is the last thing. You have a choice. You either fight now and on the front line, or you die on the back line. But eventually that line is coming to you.
Okay, Aaron, real quick, and I'm going to go to Leo too. But Aaron, why don't you give us an update? Because it looks like we have some numbers.
Update. Yeah, I have some numbers. Here's the update. Liberals 150, Conservatives 130. Bloc Québécois 22, and NDP 7. So my question to Bryce and to Leo, here's a question for you, because I'm not sure. What if the Conservatives teamed up with the Bloc, but also on the reverse side, this is the interesting, Jagmeet all of a sudden made a switch, and he's got 7 seats. Those 7 seats could maybe do a majority, sort of a minority party altogether.
Right.
Overtake the Liberals, redo. Would he switch? Do you think he would?
No.
He's going to lose everything.
No,
he wouldn't.
He's a sellout. He's probably not going to even get his own seat, but the next guy who will be the head of the NDP, he's going to be a sellout too with the Liberals, because this is far from over, guys. Okay, we're still in Ontario. Okay,
so I want to ask you a question, Leo, because Bryce brought up some good points about Alberta, but hey, you know what? To say that to say the term Terminator, and to also think that the film Terminator was not really a documentary about the future, well, you're going to be really surprised, because it's already here. Oakland police are using the RoboCop. This is straight from China. Just when you thought the leaf blowers were bad enough, well, they got robotic ones to really piss you off in the morning. Leo, let's talk now, because if you're waking up on a Tuesday morning and you're Donald Trump, Leo, if you could get in the head of DJT here for a minute, what are you doing and what are you saying to the Canadian people if you're Donald Trump on a Tuesday morning?
Donald
Leo.
Trump is licking his lips right now, because the U.S. national debt's at $37 trillion. And what do you know? Canada has over $37 trillion in minerals alone. So Donald Trump's licking his lips going, just like the, when we say...
What's he doing?
No, it just like, what's his face? Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs.
Thank you.
He's coming to get that 37 trillion from Canada one way or another. I feel like a Malcolm in the middle, okay? And we're in the middle of China and America. And that's what's going on. It's a power play. And America is not going to let Canada fall in the hands of China.
I don't think so. It's a national security threat. And Leo, you want to talk about a great time to sell timeshares in Alberta? It's right now, everybody. By the way,
Airbnb
speaking of which,
just went up.
Oh God, yeah, Aaron, we should have been owning timeshares in Alberta. What the hell is wrong with us? Okay,
How about tent cities in Alberta? That'll work.
Yeah, we'll even do Airbnbs via tents. Let's take a few questions from the audience here. We have Jan Thompson saying the following: what is going on with all these blackouts in Europe? Thank you for bringing that up. I had a story about that. We had blackouts in Portugal, and where was the other one? Spain. Thank you. We just had one in Peru several weeks ago. We had one in Puerto Rico 2 weeks ago. We think it's coming here next. It's going to be sporadic. None dare call it coincidence. Whatever you do here, it's coming. It's coming. Glenn Hall, I love when you're here. He says the following: Dean Ryan is right. Thank you. There is no real choice in Canada. They are all one uniparty. We need to be the 51st state like now to save the suffering of its people, and I'm one of them. Let me tell you, Glenn, Trump knows. That's why he took Panama back. That's why he wants Greenland, because what Panama has, in Canada, what China has done is what they're doing in Africa, what they've done throughout all of South America, and what they're doing now in North America. They're usurping the world through the help of the West and eradicating the Anglo-Saxon. If you're a Christian, you're gone. If you are alternative religions out there, I can't think of at the moment, you're gone, because you can't do that in China. They come with a wrecking ball with Mao Zedong, grandchildren on it to tear down your place of worship. You're not allowed to have expression, hence the mask. That is China for you. And if you're Asian descent, China believes they own all of Asia. That's why they want Taiwan back. They want to take the Philippines back. They want to take Mongolia. Vietnam. You name it. Everything.
Well, I never owned any of that, but that's what they want.
Laos, Thailand, Burma.
Yeah, they believe they believe it all belongs to them. And while we were all down in the lockdowns, they were taking a bunch of land. Now, in the Deagle report coming up, everybody, you're going to see how they're going to meet the quota to tank the world's population, and it's all through the Huawei 5Gs. And everybody who's miracle jabbed, they're coming at you with the 5G towers here. You're going to learn that in the upcoming thing. But Bryce, you want to pick up there and expand on that, and Aaron, give us an update if we have one when you can. Go ahead, Bryce.
Well, as I showed in that picture of the Council of 300, like the goal is for total control of everybody. And this is why I kind of state this in this capacity, is that the things that everybody needs to really understand is that you have to be able to organize and mobilize with whoever is in your physical community. Like whatever's happening on the other side of the planet, and you got to understand this too. Like China's economy is collapsing right now, so they've probably got a few 100 million people that are out of work. Well, there's an old saying that when all else fails, you take them to war. Well, if China has 100 million soldiers that they can throw at the problem, and you either have the choice of you die of starvation or you go and fight for the Red Army, I mean, a lot of people are going to make that choice pretty easily, right? And once that happens, I mean, that is when true World War III is actually going to happen. But at the end of the day, the point of this whole thing, which is what we're in now, this is World War III. This is for all of the marbles. This is for all the marbles, right? This is a survival battle that you have to fight in your town, in your streets. Nobody is going to be able to escape this, and we're fighting this right now. And right now, it looks like we're freaking losing, right? But at some point, this battle is going to get real quick. Real deal media, right? But the last point that I'll make here is that the key to surviving this is 5 things: skills, assets, resources, protection, and community. Not necessarily in that order, but the important part of that is the community, right? You have to have people. You cannot fight a war alone, because war is a game of logistics, right? So you have to work with other people. You have to have resources. You have to have abilities and skills and assets that you can leverage against whatever the challenge that you're facing as a community. And because they've spent literally generations at this point trying to divide and conquer us and be like, hey, you can't talk to him, you can't trust them, you can't whatever, right? The focus of everybody should be at this point. If you understand this, what I'm saying, and I hope that you do, is that who can I work with? What can I do? And how do I prepare? Because at the end of the day, war is here.
This is Leo. This is ideological subversion coming to collect right now. They've got the West to kill themselves, hate their parents. You have the Mao Institute over there from China. They infiltrated the Department of Education. Is it any wonder why the Department of Education has been dissolved by Trump? Literally. So let me tell people something right now. This is why I've said for the past 5 years, Michigan is key. If we think that Trump has the military at the border of Mexico no, it's really for the North. Michigan is the entrance to the United States through the Gordie Howe Bridge. That's where they're going to bring in the UN troops, or who are going to be disguised as Canadian folks, as they try to annex Michigan, and peacekeepers and CCP and, miscellaneous ones as well. Michigan is key. That's why they have Governor Dimwit, who's all drugged up, to get into the fabric of the United States through the middle of this country. That's how they're going to get in here. The most dangerous border right now is the North, because Trump, the United States, Leo, cannot exist with an existential threat now in Canada, which Canada is now usurped by China officially starting tonight. Leo, take it away.
100% spot on, Dean. Okay, Trump in America is not going to let communists set up fucking shop on Canadian soil in their backyard. It's not going to happen. Okay, I expect, like Aaron said and Noonan said, in the next year, America will come over here and they will liberate Canadians. Okay, enough's enough. Okay, now we fought the war. Okay, we fought the World War I, the World War II, the Korean War. A lot of Canadians joined into the U.S. Vietnam War. Some went to Iraq, and a lot of us went to Afghanistan. Okay, we fought like brothers in arms. We are brothers in arms. I got American family. Okay, I'm not going to point weapons at the Americans. Period. It's not going to happen, and they're not going to point weapons at me. It's gonna be the Chinese. We have Chinese police stations. We have Chinese troops training on Canadian soil as we speak.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah,
right. That's true, and that's true. Okay, Trump's gonna have enough. Enough's enough. Like I said, we have what they want. We have what you want. What America wants. Okay, to survive is the minerals in Canada: the wood, the lumber, the uranium, the lithium, the cobalt, the silver, the gold, the water, okay, and so on, okay, and there's a lot more minerals than what I just spoke of, okay, that are here, and in order for America to sustain, okay, they're not going to go to Ukraine and get it. It's right in their back door. It's right here, okay, and we should never have ever had a border to begin with. I should never have been born 1 mile from downtown Detroit, where guess what? I have to pay a toll to go over to America. Okay, especially Windsor, where I'm at, we're more Americanized than you think. Okay, we're intertwined. Okay, I got black family members that are half black, half white from Detroit. Okay, and they're dual citizens, and they cross.
Leah, can I hold you over? Leah, we have a break. Can I hold you over for one more segment? And we want to say goodbye to Bryce, who has to head out.
Okay,
and
coming,
probably start investing in time. He's got to invest in timeshares over there in Alberta. So, Bryce, thank you for being here tonight. Bryce Wade, everybody, and yeah,
see you Friday.
Yeah. And by the way, if you want
fun trekking,
he's our gold guy. So if you want real deal gold, he's the guy. So we'll tell you more about that. So stand by, everybody. We're going to take a break as this discussion is just heating up. This is war. This is a world at war. Stand by. We'll be back after this quick message.
We'll see how late that actually goes to be declared, but right now,
what a disaster.
He sits down as he waits for his guest. His coffee does not help the time pass. Disappointment sets in. If he only had real deal coffee to indulge in, when it's chocolate-covered almonds and maple syrup citrus finish, roasted right here in the US of A, life would only be that much better. Real deal coffee. Because indulgence is just a cup away.
I'd also add that war is just a shot away, to quote Mick Jagger on that one. That's right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to a very important show now, which started off as an election night here at Real Deal Media Election Headquarters. I'm Still Dean Ryan, who is going to be with you just a little longer, as we're not going to leave our Canadian friends to the north and family. We're not going to leave you in the dark, because we're not going to exist without something called UNITY, which I believe spells unity. Can you believe that? I'm going to welcome back, as we kind of sunset this incredible historic broadcast together, I'm going to welcome back the one and only Inspector Cates, Aaron Cates over there in Toronto, and the man who is at the most southern border of Canada, damn near Detroit, a man who can see Motown from his kitchen window. Leo, welcome back. And, Leo, on the plus side of this, in times of war, it always inspires incredible music to just start blasting and booming from the most intrepid places around the world. And maybe the arts will express the times, as we can only hope in the new age of Renaissance. But let's kind of sunset and finish kind of where we see this going, because I'll tell you what, everybody, I saw it coming here a long time ago. And let me, a word to the militias out there in Canada. We know who you are. We know you watch this show. We know I've been targeted because of Patrick King. They targeted me. They took away our monetization on many, many levels. Now's the time. Now's the time. Just like Americans ran up there during the trucker convoy, we're coming too. We are with you. We hear you. We see you. This is not over. This is just getting started, because we've only just begun here, and we're ready for war. Leo, why don't you pick up on where you left off at, and continue, please.
Okay, my city, the city of Windsor, we're so intertwined with America. Okay, we've been this way since the Battle of 1812 or whatever it was, when the British went and burnt down the White House. That had nothing to do with us, with me anyways. My family's been here since then. Okay, before then, as being a French Canadian, and we're so intertwined with America, right? I consider myself America, and I always have. And people here in Windsor, the businesses, everything, okay, is all American entwined. The only difference is the Canadian dollar and the shitty politics that we have here, right? What I see happening here, I'm not going to lose any sleep over this, guys, because I've already got a half a dozen drinks into me from 2 dozen drinks last night. Okay, we partied till 5 o'clock in the morning here, the pre-election party, and it's still going on, right? And I don't drink often, right? But this is driving me to drink, which is a good thing, because I needed this, right? And I think everybody needed this to open up their eyes. Now, there's a lot of shenanigans that are happening here in this election, and I don't care what the liberals say. There's no way, okay, that people are voting in a government that we're going to raise your taxes 25% carbon tax. You better get your tank of gas in right now, folks, because tomorrow it's going up. And if Bryce knows any gold streams out there, I'm going to pan for gold. Okay, I'm not going to be on the 5G, on any of that crap. I'm going out to the Boreal Forest, and I'm going to go pan gold for a living, right? And I'll sell it to Bryce under the table, right?
That's right. And what a plug, Leo. What a plug for Real Deal Media Gold. Real Deal Gold. All you got to do is go to realdealmedia.tv/gold. And we didn't plan that. Just Leo has great taste. Great taste.
You know what scares me, guys? The first thing that the communist does is the censorship. Right away, they're going to go Bill C-73 or 67. Which one was it? I can't remember. But right away, online harms bill. Whatever I say is just bad news, and I'm a bad guy. And if I don't say that you can cut your weenie off and go along with woke ideology. And I guess I'm just a bad man and orange man bad.
Hey,
and, you know,
that's
I
We're
don't
in
know
the
how
same
long we're gonna-
position as we were yesterday, guys, for another 4 years. It's 160 liberals, 139 conservatives, 25 bloc, and 10 NDP. Now, if the NDP backed the liberals, we're in the same position as we were yesterday. I didn't want to be in that position. I want to see a liberal minority party, something that at least the conservatives could work with the bloc, okay, to move us forward. Because what happens here in Canadian politics is this, Dean. Okay, if they have a minority and the conservatives and the bloc joined up together, the liberals can't even pass toilet paper from stall to stall. Okay, they will block everything. Okay, in order to get
block
what they
will
need.
block.
Yeah, block for a block, right? and but right now, as I see right now it's 58, 142, 24. So right now we could be where I said with a liberal minority, because now the polls have closed in Ontario, that the votes are being counted up. And a great thing is this, Aaron Cates.
Yep, I'm listening.
Okay, Eric Kreismerich, I call him Eric Papschmerich, lost his seat, which means he don't get a pension. Okay, that's where the WFCU Center, the poll was burning today.
Mhm.
That's his riding. So by the
Awesome.
looks of
He's
it,
liberal.
Kathy Borelli won that seat. I'm still waiting for my guy Gill to get him on the hill. Okay, that's Windsor West, and that's who I voted for. Though that's not done yet. So there's a lot of things happening, right? We haven't hit the West Coast yet. So we're still in Manitoba. Okay, we're headed into Saskatchewan and Alberta, and that's going to make the difference on the minority. Right
Good
now, it's
point.
150. Right now, it's really changed now, Dean. It's 157 to 140, 156 to 144 for the Conservatives. So now the things are going to change really fast for the Conservatives. I don't see the Liberals getting the majority. I see them getting the minority, and the Bloc teaming up with the Conservatives, and we'll be in great hands then, guys. Really, I'll sleep great. I'm going to sleep great anyways. Like I said, I got a dozen beers into me.
Let me
smoke something.
let me add this too for our Canadian listeners and watchers out there too. Is look, this network, I have been penalized to the point of non-existence. Believe me, Aaron, myself, and others here at Real Deal Media, we are not in any way just flourishing with bright colors. You know, we're not elbows up with Charlie Kirk on this or that show. Okay, so we know that our Rumble channels, Rumble's frozen. I've been at the same numbers for well over a year. YouTube is a graveyard, and Facebook has pretty much punished me. Where over 90% of this audience has, no idea I exist anymore. I even have people I know that says, "Dean, what are you up to these days?" I mean, that's how bad it is. But to the people, but the broader point and the general point is the people who want to know, that really want change, that are awake. We do this for you out there because you have the power to relay and parlay that information that we're doing to the next person, because we know that people on Facebook, for instance, don't even see the show unless it's live, if you're lucky to find it. That's what I want to say, and that's what we're doing. But kind of in a closing statement here, I just saw what you used to be him. I want to maybe have a closing statement here as we're kind of coming to a close. Why don't we go ahead, Leo? Why don't we start with with you?
Libby
here?
the libtard.
I'm a
Yes.
liberal. I just want everybody to know I can that the liberals are going to win again. They're going to be
Wonderful.
We're going to pay a lot more taxes, and in the end, Donald Trump's going to come over and make us a 50-foot state. Every time I do this Libby stuff, my pitbull goes crazy. I don't know why the pitbull goes crazy. Really,
Why don't you show us your pitbull? Show us your pitbull.
Look at my pitbull.
Oh, awesome.
Every time
How old is he? How old is he?
He's 3 years old, but he goes really crazy, man. And I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to take my MK Ultra drugs tonight because I'm really happy for Connie that he's gonna get a minority party, and then what's gonna happen is nothing really, because they're gonna be the same predicament as we were yesterday.
Libby, if you don't mind, can I say that you're a libtard? Is that okay?
Well, 100%.
Aaron, we really have to close the show. We are just about ever. So, Aaron, give us. Why don't you give us your final thought real quick as we come to a very mere ending here. Aaron,
Yeah,
quickly,
crazy
go ahead.
historic ending. Well, let's see.
Aaron
It's
Cates.
not over yet, but right now it's showing 158 to 143, and the Bloc Québécois have 24, and the NDP have 10. So, like Leo was saying, if the Bloc Québécois and the Conservatives come together, could be actually really good for Canada, and Carney would be out. So that would be really good. So we'll watch it. We'll stay tuned. We'll keep you guys posted. We thank you guys for joining tonight. And like I keep saying, I keep mentioning it to you guys. It's so important. Do not forget about the border to the north. The southern border seems we got it under control. President Trump has it under control. Do not forget about the border to the north. There's so much happening, and it's a matter of communism on your doorstep. So I just want to thank you guys again, and let's pray. We got this. Hopefully, God is making moves right now. I know you guys can't see it, but He's moving, and I know He wants good for us. He loves all of us. So thank you, Dean. Thank you, Leo, to Bryce and Derek, who is going back to his watch party to get intel. So I might have more intel in the next day or two from Derek.
Perfect.
What's happening. So thank you again, Dean. Thanks. Great show, guys.
Wonderful. Thank you, Aaron. And I'm going to use my final thought here by saying that I second what I said earlier is we are dedicated to getting through this time of world war, which we have been in now officially for 5 years. I should say unofficially for 5 years, but I think tonight really puts the hallmark official tagline to it now. This is World War III. It is a psychological proxy war that's right in front of us at every angle. And to really beat and defeat the enemy, you have to understand the enemy through its ideological subversion, which creates the psychological confusion. But as I look at some of the comments here tonight, and I believe it's Nigel Dyer that says that God gave us a free will, prayer, unity, and love, but also God gave us grace, God gave us style, but God gave us American-led. And that's what it's going to take to get to the bottom and to raise us back to the top here as the American ingenuity and the American strength and the American strategy of retaking this world and reshaping it into a form that the deity that God would want us to make it, which creates harmony, is going to take military might, military understanding, and also it's going to take unity. And that's what I believe tonight's election has caused. Unity between our countries like never before. So we're going to be here for the long haul. We hear you, we see you, and we are going to get through this. And these people, well, they're on their last legs. They're on the run while we are definitely on the march. So I want to thank Aaron Cates. I want to thank Leo from the South. Also thank Bryce Wade for being here tonight and Derek Noonan for offering wonderful insight. So for all of us, and
if you want to catch Libby, the after show with Libby, you can catch me at Leo Lucio on Facebook. I'm gonna do a deep Libby show tonight. It's gonna be pretty fucking psychotic.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you for that. For all of us here at Real Deal Media, good night, and always remember to stay tuned and stay awake. Good night.